Welcome to episode number 36 of the Cheesesteaks and Controllers podcast, presented by Fox PHL The Gambler, 102.5 FM, 1480 AM, and iHeart Radio. My name is Esports and Gaming Insider Jason Fanelli, and I am here to bring you the latest and greatest in what was a whirlwind week for video games and esports. Lots of big news from a major company. We'll get into the Nintendo Direct in this episode. We'll talk about the upcoming Overwatch event. I'm so excited to be able to say that. Overwatch. And we'll get into a little something at the end that gives me a little bit of agita towards the end of the show. But enough about that. Let's dive right in to the 6 in 60 seconds. Multiple esports are postponing competition due to freezing weather situation in the Midwest, including the Call of Duty League, which announced a Super Week for next week, and the Valorant Champions Tour, which pushed its competition back for 2 days this weekend. Meanwhile, the Capcom Cup 2020 has introduced a 12-match boxing-style fight card, with the first match this Saturday night at 7 p.m. League of Legends pro Broxa finally has his visa cleared and will be joining CLG for competition this weekend. Elsewhere, Nintendo has released a new Nintendo Direct with 32 separate announcements over 50 minutes, which we'll get into in a little while. Amazon has once again delayed its upcoming sandbox MMO New World, this time to August. And finally, Twitch and Facebook Gaming report record months for streaming hours in January, with Twitch alone reporting 2 billion hours of total watch time. Those were your 6 in 60 seconds. Yes, folks, that was the 6 in 60 seconds, and as always, it is brought to you by our sponsor for the show, Ghost Shaver. Ghost Shaver is a shave above the rest, designed to feel like it's an extension of your arm. Its precision cutting system gives you a close and smooth shave every time. 5 different rotary flex action super thin blades and a patented handheld design fit into the palm of your hand precisely, giving you a firm and controlled grip. Find out everything you need to know about this excellent razor at ghostshaver.com. That is ghostshaver.com. Moving on now to the first topic of the evening. There's Overwatch news to talk about. I can't believe it. Overwatch news. I feel like we haven't talked about Overwatch in months, because we haven't. But it looks like this weekend, BlizzConline, I guess is how they want us to call it, is finally going to open the door to some Overwatch. Now, whether that's just the upcoming Overwatch League season, which we'll get into that, or if it's Overwatch 2, which they've been talking about since last year, we're not entirely sure yet. But we do know that there will be a massive Overwatch League event happening on Saturday at 12 p.m. Pacific, so 3 p.m. here in Philly, and that is Shock versus the World. The San Francisco Shock will take on streamers, pro players, community figures, developers of the game, and more in Overwatch-themed challenges. Now, it's not all in-game. It's some other things that are going on outside and inside the game, but it looks like it's going to be a fun little competition starring the Shock and some of the best in the Overwatch community and the league. So there are 5 events planned, each with different names, but not a whole lot of details have been given so far, and I'll walk you through them here. The first one is called 12 Hooks, 1 Hole, and from the Shock, that will feature Glister, Tayo, Smurf, Twilight, Super, and Choi Hyobin. Whereas against the World, they will be facing Avast, J3, Emong, and 3 devs from Overwatch, Travail, Splat, and Cryan. Cryan? I think it's Cryan. Sorry if it's not Cryan. Next, we have Tactical Drawling with Nero and Smurf versus commentators Zoe Gishwin and Mr. X. We have Battle of the Boops, a one-on-one with Krusty, the coach of the team, versus Lucio Dad. We have a Chuckle Challenge, which is Super versus Jeff Kaplan, who is the head of the studio of Overwatch. And finally, a massive 6-on-6 in-game showdown, an actual in-game competition where Striker, Nero, FD God, Violet, Super, and Smurf from the Shock will take on Dante, McGravy, Space, Sleepy, Rascal, and Dogman in a huge 6-on-6 Overwatch showdown. Now, they do say it's best of 3, Shock or the World, but they will still be playing all 5 events because they seem fun. It's not like a normal competition. It doesn't have anything in the league standings. So just something to give the crowd a nice little bump that's watching BlizzConline or BlizzCon Online, whatever it's called. And when you guarantee that all 5 events will be played, you guarantee how long the event will be. So if you're excited for Overwatch League and you're excited for what to come, this is a very good way to get hype. But also, more importantly, at the end of this competition, at the end of the 6 versus 6 showdown, when Shock versus the World is over, they have announced that they will reveal the 2021 Overwatch League schedule and share new details on the format of the upcoming season. Now, we already know that the format is going to be multiple in-game tournaments between April and September. We also already know the team alignments, which are the same as last year, but one extra team goes over to the Asian division, the Eastern division. Your Philadelphia Fusion will be playing over there with Shanghai and Seoul and the 3 Chinese teams, and LA Valiant is there, and New York Excelsior and us. So it's 12 and 8, I believe, is the split this year. It was 13 and 7 last year, 12 and 8 this year, with your Fusion being one of the 8 over in the Asian division, because most, if not all, of the players will be in South Korea playing their games this year. So it's just good to have them all over there. It makes perfect sense to me. Looking forward to everything that's going on there. But more importantly, I want to get into what the season schedule may look like and what they're going to reveal as far as the Overwatch League. Now, it's hard to really get into the actual schedule of games because we don't know what tournament is first, what the name of the tournament is, things like that. I do want to take a look at the structure, though. I want to get into which teams are where and who I think is going to be playing in week 1 of the season. I think that if they were smart, they would put your Philadelphia Fusion up against the Seoul Dynasty, because Seoul was talking some smack after they knocked us out of the tournament last year. Over the off season, I believe I talked about it when he said that when the head of Gen G, who owns the Seoul Dynasty, was talking about how the Fusion are going to spend the season in South Korea and maybe they could win a game while they were there, unlike they did at the end of last season. Ha 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 ha, you're so funny. So I would like to see the Seoul first in the first match of the season, but I don't know exactly what their plans are. I'm hoping that the season does not start in April. I hope it starts, sooner. Maybe that's a little selfish of me, but I'm just really excited for the season to begin. I don't know if you've noticed that. And I really want to get this thing going so we can get everything we need to do for the Overwatch League kicking off. I know it's going to be another weird year for your team, for your Philadelphia Fusion. It's going to be a strange, especially playing all their games now in the overnight. Unfortunately, being in the Asian division, the Eastern division, means that we will be playing all of our games as the folks in Philadelphia are sleeping. We will wake up to the results as opposed to watching them live as we did most of the time last year. But I am, really looking into this tournament and into this team and its roster. I'm really looking forward to seeing them go. I want to see Carpe and Alarm do their thing again. I'm very happy that Funny Astro and Poco are back. I like that EQO is back, and I'm pretty big on this Shockwave as a younger player from the Contenders League. But everything I hear or see about this kid really impresses me, and I want to see what he can do on this team. Luckily for this season, like last year, the Chipsa signing, when they had signed that Doomfist specialist Chipsa to the 1-year deal, he was basically only there if the meta changed to Doomfist. He didn't really serve a purpose otherwise, And because of that, he only got into one league match, maybe two, the entire season. There's not really anyone on this roster that fits a scenario like that, where they're only on the team for certain specific situations, and that's the only time you're going to see them. There's nothing like that this year. Every player on the team can contribute in big ways immediately, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that dynamic, where you can have more active substitutions, you can have more players being able to rest or taking weeks off because you have a deeper bench that you can go to. Also, besides the deeper bench, I want to see how Mano, our newest signing, comes into the scene immediately. I have high hopes for him as well. I really think he's going to come in here and make a big impact. He's going to complement Carpe nicely and really bring this team to another level that will be even more heightened by the brand new coach 9K. I think looking at his style, looking at his philosophy, looking at things that I've read about him leading up into the season, he fills a lot of gaps that this team had last season, to the point where I think we're going to be saying very, very good things about him when the end of the season comes, despite the fact that this is only his first season coaching. He has never held a head coaching position before, but I really don't think that's going to stop him. I really think that's he's going to come in here and be huge for us and really take us to new heights, which would be awesome, because Philadelphia has developed a bit of a reputation in this league to being the Buffalo Bills, where they get so close to the promised land, so close to a victory, whether it be in an in-season tournament or in the big one, but they just come up short. And I am not looking forward to another year where we just come up short once again. I want to cross that threshold. I want to cross over to the championship, and I want to be the ones to dethrone the San Francisco Shock and stop their bid for a three-peat and hoist the trophy ourselves with Carpe and Mano and our new coach 9K and everybody else on the team. Really, really, really looking forward to that. So I'm excited for Shock versus the World, as silly and non-normal league as it will be. I like that they're going into the season with a little more lightheartedness, a little more humor, a little more fun before the serious season play begins. I am very interested in what these events are, specifically Tactical Drawing and Battle of the Boops. And Chuckle Challenge, if that just sounds like they're going to be laughing at each other to see who laughs funnier, I'm not exactly sure what's going to go there. If I had to pick one of these 5 events to be the most awkward or cringy, that would be the one. No offense to Super, and no offense to Jeff Kaplan, but I have a feeling that's going to be kind of cringy. But the 6 versus 6 showdown is something I have been waiting for since the end of the Overwatch season last year. I am ready for more to be played. I'm ready to see more, and that 6 versus 6 is going to be a perfect bridge into the tournament whenever that may happen. And to be completely honest with you, the fact that the Call of Duty League had to be postponed over the weekend for due to the weather, and instead they're going to have the Super Week next week, where from the 22nd for 7 straight days they just play Call of Duty every single day, playing all the matches from week 2 and week 3 in one fell swoop. I think that helps this event. I think that helps Shock versus the World get a little more eyes on it, because the people who would normally be watching the Call of Duty League won't have that to watch anymore, and they also won't have Valorant to watch because that's been delayed as well. So that actually, no, I take that back. Valorant will be starting its week 3 open qualifier at the exact same time as this starts. So they'll have Valorant to contend with. I take that back. But the lack of Call of Duty is huge, and you have cross-promotion there because Call of Duty and Overwatch are owned by the same people. So you should be able to get a lot of eyes on this Shock versus the World, and then have them stay there for the season preview to let people know what's going on this season. I love that. I love that opportunity, and I hope they take it. Very much looking forward to this event. Very much looking forward to Overwatch, and I just want to see the Fusion take the digital pitch again. They're kind of fresh in my head because we just passed the 1-year anniversary of the hometown series at the Met, where Sean Brace and I went and watched some Fusion for a little while, live and in person for the first time in this city. I loved that event, and I was so looking forward to seeing them there again in May, and then at Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City in June, and it just fell through for obvious reasons. So I am very much looking forward to get back into the swing of things for Overwatch League, even though it's going to be another digital season, even though it's going to be all internal season tournaments. It's better than nothing. And then in 2022, they can come back, the Fusion Arena can be built, they can debut that brand new building, and they can absolutely rock the house. So, Fusion, very much looking forward to it, ready for more, ready for Overwatch League. Let's get this going. BlizzCon Online, or BlizzConline, whatever it is they want to say, dang it. Let's go. Let's go, Fusion. All right, now, unlike last week where I had to skip What's on Tap because there was only one game to talk about, now we have a two-spot. We have two games that are worthy of your time, so get out those glasses. Hope you're thirsty. It's time for What's on Tap. Persona 5 Strikers, a Muso-style third-person action game in the Persona universe, takes the shelves on the 23rd this week. Has reviewed very, very well. Apparently, it's more than just a mindless hack and slash. There's a lot of good story elements to be had here. Some are calling it a spiritual sequel to Persona 5 Royal, so definitely something to look forward to if you're a Persona fan. And for the retro fans, Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection, a brand new, fully remade Ghosts and Goblins game on Nintendo Switch exclusively. Anyone who remembers that game remembers it was one of the most difficult, notoriously difficult games of all time, right up there with Battletoads. So Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection on the Switch should be something that you are very, very excited about. And then, just as a small preview for next week, there's a major RPG coming on the 26th, but we will talk about that next week. Persona 5 Strikers, Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection, something else? What's on tap for you? There it is. That's what's on tap for this week. You can circle the 25th on my calendar many, 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 many times because Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection put it right into my veins. Please, very excited for that one. I want it to be as difficult and as awesome as I remember it, just with a brand new fresh coat of paint in this remake. But let's not talk about only one game on the Switch. Let's talk about the Nintendo Switch directly. That's right. We finally had, for the first time in 531 days, a full-fledged Nintendo Direct. 32 announcements were made over the course of 50 minutes. It was a packed show with things coming from every which way, up, down, and center. And of those 32 announcements, I have ranked my favorite 10. So these are the top 10 Nintendo Direct announcements from yours truly, from 10 to 1. But before I do that, I do want to mention a few honorable mentions that will not be making this list. And they are Star Wars Hunters, that free-to-play online multiplayer game, definitely piqued my interest. The Ninja Gaiden Master Collection, the Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2 and Sigma 3 Razor's Edge, that was really cool. And the Animal Crossing Mario collaboration stuff. Those items are very, very cool. Just wasn't enough information I didn't already know to make this top 10 list. But let's start with number 10, and that is a game that I never thought would ever be resurrected outside of maybe a PC port. But all of a sudden, we're getting it on all consoles, and we're getting it soon, within a month. And that's Stubbs the Zombie, Rebel Without a Pulse, a silly third-person action game where you play as a zombie and you're trying to change people into other zombies and you're using parts of your body to do it. You can throw your stomach at them. It's called a gut grenade. All kinds of weird stuff. The reason I like this announcement so much is not so much because of the game itself. Stubbs is a silly little Xbox game, a cult hit. Glad to see it's getting new exposure from Asper Media on the Switch. But what I like about this is that companies are getting weird. They're looking for weird things in their backlogs. They're looking for weird franchises, dormant franchises, and they're giving them the chance on a Switch, a console that has sold buku amounts in the 4 years that it's been out. We're actually approaching the 4-year anniversary of the Switch on March the 3rd. So if it's been out for 4 years, it's selling absolutely gangbusters. So companies are looking for potential hits. And I like that creativity. If they just stick to the AAA formula or they don't think outside the box, we don't get those massive hits. We don't get those new IPs. We don't get things like that. So the fact that Asper Media is trying here with Stubbs the Zombie may lead to other franchises seeing the light of day in the future, whether it's on the Switch or it's on a different console. Like if they bring back Conquer for the Xbox, that's a Rare property, or Blinks the Time Sweeper to stay with Xbox. If Legend of Dragoon finally sees the light of day on PlayStation 5, things like that. Whether it's the originals remade or brand new games in their franchises, experimenting like this is awesome. And I think that Stubbs the Zombie here is a good start for something like that on the Switch. So number 10, Stubbs the Zombie, for just how dang weird that choice is. Number 9 is going to sound super, super silly, but I'm not going to take a lot of time to justify this. I only really have to say a couple of words about it. So number 9 is DC Superhero Girls Teen Power. And you're probably thinking, why the heck are you so excited about DC Superhero Girls Teen Power, that teeny bopper, kitty superhero game with Batgirl and Harley Quinn and all this other stuff? And I have just one simple sentence to describe it to you. I'm a father of daughters. That is a game I can play with my daughters. That's why I'm excited for it. That's why I'm into it. I can't play other games that were mentioned on this list with my daughters. I can't play Ninja Gaiden Sigma with my daughters. They will be traumatized. One is about to be 5. The other is 2. Any game I can get that I could also play with them is a win. And that, DC Superhero Girls, is one of them. She already likes Batgirl. She knows who Batgirl is. She has a Batgirl Barbie doll. So it's an easy entry. And then I can introduce her to all the other superheroes and turn her into a superhero fan. DC Superhero Girls. Very excited for it. Let's go. Number 8, back to getting a little serious here. This one also wins trailer of the Direct just because of how left field crazy it was. That's Knockout City. We're talking about a game where a bunch of characters run around a cityscape and play dodgeball with each other, which sounds like a very silly concept, but coupling that with the action that we saw, the little co-op elements that we saw, plus the trailer, as I mentioned, with all the different crazy characters talking about interviewing for the game, I thought it was really cool. I thought it was a unique little action multiplayer game. With a unique hook. It gave me feels of that Ninjala from Gung Ho, if you remember that, with the ninjas who attacked using gum and gumballs. Another interesting little action game there. So if I was getting this sort of the same thing, just only from EA this time as opposed to Gung Ho. I'll be keeping an eye on Knockout City. I am excited to see where that goes. I heard there's a beta happening soon, so I'm going to get some more information on that. More sooner than I would expect. So that's another one to keep an eye on there. Number 8, Knockout City. Number 7 is very, very cool for a similar reason that I mentioned for Stubbs the Zombie, but a little more with my reason being a little more specific. And that was the announcement of the duology of the Famicom Detective Club. Famicom Detective Club, if you have never heard of this game, Famicom Detective Club, or Famicom Tente Club, as it was called in Japan, were 2 adventure games, text-heavy adventure games, for the Famicom, which is the Japanese name for the Nintendo Entertainment System. It is short for Family Computer. It was called the Family Computer Disk System. They released in 1988, one in April, one in June. They were Japanese only. And they were basically like little detective games where you solved murder mysteries on your NES. Both of them, The Missing Heir and The Girl Who Stands Behind, are being remade for the Switch. And the Nintendo Direct itself even called it a deep cut. And that is why I'm so excited about it. Yes, it is 100% a deep cut. Famicom Detective Club did not even register on my mind when they said it. I thought to myself, Famicom Detective Club, we haven't seen this game in years. The only reason I even know about it is because I'm a stupid Nintendo nerd. But now it's going to be on the Switch, and everybody's going to get to try it. I want more of this. This is a very similar argument to Stubbs, but now I'm talking to Nintendo directly. No pun intended. You have a gigantic library of games that you are not touching. Some of them more dormant than others. Yes, Famicom Detective Club is a good choice, but you still have, I don't know, F-Zero. You still have Star Fox, which I know had a game on the Wii U, but it was not very good. It was good, but the Wii U was the issue. That needs to be brought to the new system so people can play it, maybe with some things added to it. I would love to see Star Fox Zero get another chance. Punch-Out needs to be given a new lease on life, especially on the Switch with the Joy-Cons. You have that fitness boxing game. Why don't you? I hope whoever's making fitness boxing just transitions into Punch-Out, because those two things just seem like they go hand in hand. There are a lot of old Nintendo games in your library that you have not made in a long time, just like these Famicom Detective Club games, especially ones that were Japanese exclusive, like this Famicom Detective Club. Bring them over. Why not? If this is an experiment to see how much we're into this, and then I will buy both games in May when they come out, and I will try to convince everybody I know to do the same, because the more successful these ones are, the more successful other weird Nintendo franchises will be when they come to the Switch. So please, please, please keep doing this. I'm very excited for this. Number 7, Famicom Detective Agency, The Missing Heir, and The Girl Who Stands Behind. Number 6 is all the RPGs. We had 2 or 3, at least 2, maybe 3 big-time old RPGs being remastered on the Switch, between Legend of Mana, which completes the Mana set. You have Collection of Mana, you have Legend of Mana, and you have Trials of Mana. So the entire Mana series can now be played on the Switch. And then you also had Saga Frontier, which is another deep cut, being remade for the Switch. That's really cool. More of those, please. Let's get the Suikoden series from Konami on the Switch. Let's get Valkyrie Profile on the Switch, and other obscure RPGs. Alundra would be awesome on the Switch. Stuff like that. Vagrant Story is another one. Legend of Legaia. Legend of Dragoon, if Sony just wants to license it out. They have a game coming to the Xbox and MLB The Show. Put the RPG on the Switch. That makes sense to me. But yes, keep those old RPGs coming. It is awesome, and I am very much looking forward to more of that in the future. Keep those announcements coming. Number 6, all of the crazy RPGs. Number 5, then, is the Smash Brothers announcement. Pyrrha and Mithra from Xenoblade Chronicles 2 making their way to Super Smash Brothers Brawl. Brawl, holy crap. Super Smash Brothers Ultimate. Sorry, I'm looking at my amiibo for the Mii Brawler, and that's why I called it Super Smash Brothers Brawl. That was embarrassing. I like this announcement. I'm not entirely too invested in it, because I haven't really played Xenoblade Chronicles 2 all that much, if at all. But I fully accept that there is a place for her in this roster. I fully appreciate what she brings to the table. I like the idea of the switching back and forth, bringing that mechanic back. Haven't seen that since the days of Zelda and Sheik in Smash Brothers Brawl. So definitely looking forward to that, to seeing her play in March. Good announcement. I was hoping for something a little more impactful, but I guess now that they're keeping those big third-party announcements to separate events, and they're keeping the Nintendo Direct Smash announcements, if any, completely first-party. But number 5, Pyrrha and Mithra from Xenoblade to Smash Brothers. I dig that a lot. Number 4 is Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD. Also, epic troll job by IG Aonuma, the head producer of Legend of Zelda, coming on and saying, you saw me, so you thought there'd be some Breath of the Wild 2 stuff. Nah, sorry, but here's Skyward Sword HD. Skyward Sword gets a bit of a bad rap because it was really heavy on the motion controls and kind of rubbed people the wrong way. I liked it because it was an origin story, and I feel like you can't properly end a story eventually before you begin it. So if to have this origin story and see where the cycle started, learn about Demise, learn about Fee, learn about what the sword does, really cool. I really, really like that story. Hopefully the controls, the Pro Controller controls of the of this HD remake or remaster will serve that game better. I don't want to have to play with the Joy-Cons if I don't have to, but I am looking forward to see what they do here with this one. So number 4, Skyward Sword HD. Number 3 is Fall Guys is coming to Switch. This is so exciting. Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout, the PS4 and PC smash hit from last summer, is coming to the Switch this summer and also to the Xbox series of consoles, as was announced earlier Thursday morning. But this is actually very, very good timing for Fall Guys. It's been out for a little less than a year now. We're in the, I would say, maybe 6 months. It came out with August 4th. So, yeah, about the 6-month mark. It's not where it was in terms of popularity or hype. It definitely has died down in popularity. But there's nothing that will bring that energy back up than putting it on 2 brand new consoles for 2 brand new sets of audiences. So I am very, very much into this decision. I am into the possibility of Nintendo costumes, which is cool. Of course, I'm also into the possibility of a Fortnite skin, but that didn't happen yesterday. I missed that prediction by a mile. But Fall Guys coming to Switch was a great get. I loved the trailer that they made where they were playing with the Switch and the subsequent little video that they made where they were playing with an Xbox One controller. Very, very cool. And I can't wait to see how it plays on the Switch. So Fall Guys at number 3 on my countdown. Number 2 is the Project Triangle strategy, because tactics-based RPG with that beautiful Octopath-style graphics. Don't really need to say more than that. The demo is really cool. If you haven't played that demo yet, it's completely free on the eShop. Download that and dissect it. Tell them everything you want to know, that you want them to know in the survey when that comes out, and just enjoy every minute of that demo because it's really, really, really cool. Final Fantasy Tactics Enhanced is what this feels like to me. I don't really feel for the name Triangle Strategy. I kind of hope that they fix that a little bit, but dang, if the game and the music and everything else does not more than make up for it. So Triangle Strategy, number 2 on my countdown. And number 1, my favorite announcement from the Direct yesterday, is Mario Golf Super Rush. Mario Golf is back. We are going back to the links. Mario Golf has always been a very guilty pleasure of mine since the days of the GameCube. Toadstool Tour on the GameCube is one of the best GameCube games out there. You heard me. I loved every second of playing that game. Something about playing a golf game, especially a Mario Golf game, is just so soothing, so calming. And I really, really, really enjoyed it. I'm very much looking forward to more of that. I loved the speed golf thing, where everybody goes at once, and then you run to your ball, and the first one to get it in the hole wins. That's a really, really cool mechanic, really cool idea, and I can't wait to see that in action with a couple of friends, be it on my couch or online. I hope it's online. I really do. But Mario Golf Super Rush, what a welcome surprise that was. Easily got the biggest hype out of me of the day in the Nintendo Direct, and I want to see more very, very soon, and I hope they let me do that. So there you have it. That is my top 10 from the Nintendo Direct on February 17th, this past Wednesday. Gave you my honorable mentions as well. A couple things I left out that may people may have some questions about, like Capcom Arcade Classics. I just haven't played that yet, so I'm not really sure about it. It came out yesterday. Splatoon 3 seems to be a big omission, but Splatoon is just a series that has passed me by. I want to play 2. I want to get into 2. I just have not done it yet. Maybe this will convince me to do so, since I have until 2022 to play 3. But I've tried that before with other console games and with a sequel coming out, and I just didn't do it. So I just fell behind on the original and the sequel too. And that may happen here. So Splatoon 3 is cool, don't get me wrong. It's just not for me. Not my kind of announcement. And then I did miss Outer Wilds coming to Switch this summer. That game is awesome. I did want to mention it. If you haven't played Outer Wilds, play it on the Switch. But there you go. That is the Nintendo Direct review from this week. Looking forward to everything that they showed, everything that they want us to play, and hopefully we'll be able to do that with all of those games in the near future. All right, let's wrap this puppy up with one more segment. We call it the Speed Run, and first on the agenda tonight is just something that really makes me upset. It annoys the hell out of me, and I don't really know why. So, fans of Nintendo, getting back to the Nintendo Direct, were clamoring for this Direct for over a year. As I said earlier, 531 days since the last one in September 2019. They've been begging for it, asking for it. Where's the Direct? Give me the Direct. Give me a Direct. We were getting little indie Directs and third-party Directs last year, but we didn't have the full Nintendo Direct experience until this week. It finally came back to us in a 50-minute presentation, one of the longest Directs that there is, which I guess makes sense because they were gone for so long. Excitement was through the roof. The announcements were shown. And all of a sudden, people on social media come out to say it was crap. This sucks. Everything was dumb. Why? It's all ports and stuff. Why do I waste my time with this? And I'm thinking to myself, what in the hell is wrong with you people? You complained for 530 days that there wasn't a Nintendo Direct, and now it's here, showcasing the first half of the year, focusing on the first half of the year with a couple of longer teases. They're putting out all this stuff in a COVID-ravaged year, and their third-party partners are putting this stuff out in a COVID-ravaged year where game development did not seem like it was slowing down at the time, but it definitely was, and you're going to feel those effects now because the games that came out in 2020 were basically done at that point. You're saying you could think like games like Final Fantasy VII Remake and Doom Eternal, they were great, but they weren't affected by COVID. You're right, they weren't because COVID hadn't started yet until they came out. Development of a game can be anywhere between 2 and 4 years, depending on the size and how much needs to be built from scratch. So those games coming out in 2020 just meant the bulk of the work was done. They were in the testing phases or what have you. And everything that had to be done beforehand was done. 2021 is going to be a different story. Now you're talking about a lot of games that are mid-development. You're talking about games that are early development. You're talking about games that could be in late-stage development but having serious issues. So the fact that Nintendo was able to put this video out with 50 minutes of information, admittedly, not all the announcements were up my alley. As I just mentioned, I ranked the top 10, but I could rank it all the way to 32 if I wanted to. Some of those announcements were not for me. Not games that I will play, not games that I'm interested in. But I still understand the value of them being there. Maximilian, a YouTuber that I watch all the time. He's a fighting game focused YouTuber. He watches a lot of Smash videos and KOF videos right now. He always records reactions to the big ones. If you want to go to introduction to him, find his reaction of Sephiroth being revealed at the Game Awards 2020 back in December. And you'll kind of get what I'm getting at here. He's genuine, he's funny, but that's besides the point. So he did a reaction video for when Minecraft Steve was added to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate on October the 1st. And I was watching it last night just to remind myself of how fun it was. And he said something that I think is pretty prescient. And I would like to stress this to anyone who came out furious after that Nintendo Direct that all these bad things were in there. There's nothing for me and all this other stuff. You didn't announce Odyssey 2. You didn't announce Breath of the Wild 2, what have you. And the line that he said is, "This is a dream come true, but it's not my dream come true." And that's fair. As long as you acknowledge that even if an announcement isn't for you, that there is certainly an audience to appreciate it, then you are watching Nintendo Directs properly. If you come out and start screaming and crying, "They didn't announce this, why didn't they announce this, Nintendo sucks," that's wrong. And I don't like to tell people their opinion is wrong. I don't like to do that. But what you're doing is wrong, and it completely invalidates any sound argument you may have had. If the Nintendo Direct is definitely not above critique. Certainly not. I think they spent too much time on Project Triangle Strategy, despite that game looking so cool. I think that Super Smash Bros. Trailer could have been cut by 30 seconds. A little less of Rex walking around all sad looking for Pyra. I think that some of the gaps between spoken words, when there was a person on the screen, were a little too long. I think that 50 minutes could have been cut down to at least 45. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to come out of there flipping my tables and screaming and crying. And as far as the predictions go read my predictions article on ven.tv/gaming. Go read it. I went 0 for 5. If you include the entire staff, We went 0 for 8. We didn't get a single goddamn one right. But do we care? No, because it was still a fun presentation. We still had surprise announcements, things that we enjoy, things that we're excited for, things that I personally am excited for. And I'm not dwelling on the fact that they didn't announce Legend of Zelda 35. They didn't announce Samus at Fortnite, or that the Super Smash Bros. Fighter wasn't Dr. Eggman from Dr. Robotnik. I don't mind being wrong. Predictions are predictions. That's what they are. They're not set in stone. They're not facts. So if you came out of this being like, where's Odyssey 2? Where's Metroid? Where's all these games I've been hearing rumors about all this time? None of that matters. Calm down. I'm not trying to come into defense of the big corporation here. They don't need my defense. They don't need me to do this. All I'm saying is you need to take a different approach on how you watch these things. The year has just begun, friends. If they take this schedule, obviously they're able to record Nintendo Directs again. We have one. So if they take their Direct schedule like 2019, not 2020, 2019, then we'll get maybe a small one in March or April, and they'll blow the doors off in the summertime. And then we'll have the second half of the year. Or they skip the mini one and just go straight to the door-blowing one for the second half of the year. This one said it focused on the first half of 2021. It was not exclusive the first half of 2021. That's why you get your triangle strategy. You get your Splatoon. It focused on it. That's why you get the Famicom Detective Agency in May. That's why you get Mario Golf in June. That's why you're still hearing about things that come out next week. The 2 segments they devoted to Bravely Default and Ghosts and Goblins. That's fine. So the one that's coming in the second half of the year, the one that's highlighting the holiday season, that might be where you see a little more meat on the bones that you're looking for. The year is long. The year is young. There is time, my friends, for you to get the dream project of your life in front of you in a Nintendo Direct. So just show a little more decorum. I'm sick. I guess what I'm trying to say is I am sick of the first reactions to anything in this world anymore being sarcasm. The first instinct of every person I read on Twitter, and maybe that's my problem, I'm reading social media, is sarcasm. Stupid snide jokes or this, like complete negativity, just Debbie Downer type crap. I'm sick of it. I'm absolutely sick and tired of seeing it all the time. I used to contribute to it. I like to be a little, and even I like to be a little snarky sometimes. I do. And even then, I like to just more cut a tangential joke rather than say, this is actually stupid. Very rarely do I come out and say things are dumb or stupid, reactionary. I need some time to think and absorb before I come out and say something's actually good or bad. Particularly in cases like this, where we're talking about games that aren't even out yet. Once the game comes out and I play it, if it stinks, then I'll say it stinks. But when the trailer comes out, I don't mind being excited for it. I don't mind being hyped for a game. There's nothing wrong with that. Even if it's a game that I might not play. I was over the moon for Splatoon 3 yesterday. I haven't played a lick of Splatoon 2. But the fact that they're making a third one, and that Splatoon will be the most enduring success story from the Wii U, because, face it, it is awesome. It's just another franchise in Nintendo's back pocket that'll make them money that they can put into other games that I want. That's how I view this. Just do me a favor. If you're listening to these words, if you are listening to me right now, whether it's in podcast form on Friday or Saturday at 4 o'clock on the radio, when you're watching Nintendo Directs or State of Plays or the Xbox's Inside Xbox or Ubisoft Forward or whichever showcase you're watching, try and resist the urge to go straight into snark. Try to resist the urge to go straight into sarcasm and just let yourself be excited for a little while. Unless something looks so dog butt backwards that the only thing you can say is, what is wrong with this thing? give yourself the chance to enjoy it before letting the snark and sarcasm and all that creep into the back of your mind. Creep back into your mind, excuse me. Do this for your boy. Because I feel like this world right now has enough negative nonsense going on that if we can stop ourselves from adding to it, even for something so trivial as a Nintendo Direct, why don't we take that chance? Why don't we do it? Why don't we sit back and say to ourselves, you know what, I'm going to make a conscious effort to not be a turd for this one show. I'll be excited if something excites me. I'll be, yeah, cool, there it is. Let's get to the next one. If it doesn't, but I'm not going to come out and outwardly snark or be sarcastic or anything like that. And see how it goes for you. If you can't help it, if sarcasm's your brand or whatever, then that's what it is. But if you can, you may find that you enjoy these things more when you're not actively looking for something to be sarcastic about. If you just sit and allow yourself to be as you're watching it, then great. Maybe you've learned something about yourself. But until then, until the next one, just think about it for me. Think about it. Maybe consider it. There are things that are worth our ire. And there are things that are not. And this, a Nintendo Direct, is not worth the ire that some people give to it. The amount of people right now who are angry about Pyra and Mithra from Xenoblade 2 being added to Super Smash Bros. Because her design was changed is absurd. Go look at Pyra and Mithra as they were in Xenoblade 2, and then see how their costume changed for Smash Bros., thinking about how Smash Bros. Has about triple the audience of Xenoblade, most of them younger, and tell me that those edits weren't responsible. Those edits weren't needed. Because they were. And I acknowledge that. If you're so mad about, anime lady and what you can't see anymore, that you're going to scream and moan on Twitter, find something better to do, man. Just find something better to do. We're talking about video games. Yeah, I know. I'm a writer and a journalist, and I take these things seriously, and I do. But I was a gamer first. I became a writer and a podcaster, but because I was a gamer. Because I loved it so much, and I loved following it, and I loved watching trailers and being a part of these things. Let yourself enjoy it first, and then do the criticism later. Don't just jump right into the snark or sarcasm. Try it. You may find that you like it. And with that, this is episode 36 of the Cheesesteaks and Controllers podcast, presented by Fox PHL The Gambler, 102.5 FM, 1480 AM, and iHeartRadio. As always, I am esports and gaming insider Jason Fanelli, bringing you the latest and greatest in esports and all things video games. Liberty Line Radio follows me at 5 o'clock on Saturday. If you're listening on the radio, if you're listening on the podcast, then the previous episode will follow, which is worth a listen. And then go back and listen 2 episodes ago to the fantastic triple threat of interviews that I had. I'm very, very proud of that episode still. I would highly recommend you go back and listen to it. Listen to everything. And if you could please, if you've gotten this far in this podcast, you must like what I'm doing. So if you could please rate and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, rate and subscribe on iHeartRadio, or wherever you're listening. And give them an honest review, an honest opinion of what you think of me, this podcast. Tell me what I can do better. Feel free to reach me on Twitter at BigManFanelli. My DMs are open if you'd rather keep it private. Just tell me things that you want, maybe things you want me to talk about, things you want me to research, things you want me to, maybe people you want me to potentially interview. My lines are open, and I'm always looking for more constructive feedback on how I can make this show better for you, the listener, and for anyone else who may be interested. So This has been episode 36 of the Cheesesteaks and Controllers podcast. Thank you so much for your time and your ears. I hope you learned something about video games today. I hope you learned something about esports today. But most importantly, I hope you have a great day. See you next time.